Hey, what is up, everybody? We're going to be talking about the iPhone SE and how it pretty much holds up in 2018. Bro, what is this fidget spinner doing here? Now, before I even continue, I want to say I'm doing the Xbox One giveaway, guys. I'm super annoying about it, but I just have to get this out there because if I don't, it's just going to eat inside me. So pretty much how to enter is just subscribe to the channel and add me on all the social networks. So all the links to those are in the description. And once you do that, you're pretty much entered. I'll be picking a winner in like a month or two. Keep a lockdown on Twitter, though, because I'll update you guys on there about like when the person's going to be announced or whatnot. So looking around the body, you can kind of tell like it's still solid. I mean, there's really nothing wrong with it. Some people say it's kind of an older design or whatnot, but I actually think this is the best designed iPhone, the iPhone 5S, but it's the same thing body-wise. And I think this is the best designed iPhone they've ever done. The front is a 4-inch screen. You have a 1.2 megapixel camera up front. You have a 12 megapixel camera in the back, the lightning connector on the bottom, volume buttons, ringer, switch, wire. You guys already know what's going on. Now turning it on, you're presented with iOS 11.2.1, which is the latest version. This phone is still supported. It's going to be supported for probably another 2 years now. So it's probably going to get like iOS like 15 or whatever. And I kind of forgot to take this off, but if you guys want to know how to do this, I did a tutorial on how to do it like a month ago. So check back on my channel and you'll see the video. Now, as you guys know, Apple came out and said that they do slow down their older iPhones. Now, this is one of those iPhones that were, said to be affected, but I personally don't think this iPhone has slowed at all yet. It's only like 2 years old, so it hasn't really deteriorated that much, but I mean, if you happen to find somebody who like does not take care of their iPhone at all, maybe their iPhone SE has deteriorated a little bit. But honestly, like the performance and everything is still super solid. Like if I'm multitasking between apps and everything, like I don't even feel like this phone is that old, which it isn't. It's only like 2 years old. That's literally nothing. But even me just opening apps, closing apps, going into apps, all that stuff, like it's literally like I'm surprised by how fluid this is. And even though some people say, and I kind of say it too, like this phone is pretty much just an iPhone 6s but in a smaller body, I personally think that this phone is faster than an iPhone 6s. It like sits between an iPhone 6s and an iPhone 7. So it's faster than the 6s but slower than the iPhone 7. That's like the best way I can put it. So whether you're multitasking or you have heavier tasks open or smaller tasks open, your phone will be able to run perfectly fine. It's not going to run into, there might be like a couple of glitch frames here and there if you're playing a huge intensive game and going into the other, but you have to really push it to get apps to close out in the background. Now specs wise, it has 2 gigabytes of RAM, so it's not like the 4, 5, 6, that other phones have. And it has a dual core processor clocked in at 1.84 gigahertz. Can you believe I remember that off the top of my head? But like I said before, for me personally, I'm not even that heavy of a user, but I do like when I do test these phones out thoroughly, I do kind of push it to the limit sometimes. And for my testing, dude, like I don't think it's that bad at all. And now if I was probably comparing this right next to an iPhone 10, it's like side by side, maybe then I'll be able to tell a difference. But for me, just using it right now, like I feel like this phone is still super fast. Now the cameras are still super awesome as well. You have a 12 megapixel camera in the back, like I said, and a 1.2 megapixel camera on the front. I kind of wish they bumped up the camera megapixel count in the front, but they didn't, so I'm not really gonna care. And they have live photos, which I literally hate. I don't like live photos at all. And overall, taking photos and stuff like that are super awesome. Let's see if I have any photos on here. That's a really bad one. That's a really bad one. That's a really bad one. Okay, I don't have any photos. All right, so here's some photos I just took now, which you can't really tell over the camera, but it's still a superior camera. It's still super awesome. It's gorgeous, beautiful. It's like I would marry it, honestly. Like I said, you can't really tell the photos, and even the videos are pretty solid as well. I don't want you guys hearing me talking if I say anything. I'll let you guys in an exclusive right now. I'll show my camera gear. I use a Canon T3i. It's like a super old camera, but the footage is still pretty solid, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, the cameras are good. The front camera is más o menos. It's alright. It's not gonna get you like street cred or anything, but it's good enough to send those like Snapchats and stuff. If you're sending it to your girlfriend or boyfriend, like they'll be okay with it. Like they're not gonna freaking judge you on this megapixel count on the front camera. But overall, the camera, I would probably rate it like an 8.5 out of 10. It doesn't have like dual sensor or anything, which I don't expect it to, but it's like 8.5, 9 out of 10. Now gaming is still super interesting on this phone too. Now one thing I would like to note though is that even multitasking between games, so here I have Real Racing 3 open, right, and it's gonna go ahead and play out. But here I'm gonna have Dead Trigger open right here. I think I played it a little bit actually. Dead Trigger's cool, but they just have so many cutscenes, it's super annoying. Alright, let's go into Pew Pew. Let's go ahead and start up a game here. I don't want music on, whatever, it doesn't matter. As you can see, it kind of stuttered there a little bit, but let's just go ahead and start up a game here. Okay, now it's multitasking. Let's get back into, let's say, Real Racing 3. Okay, so now I'm going to get into a racing thing here, and it's going to play perfectly fine. It might stutter a little bit, but that's literally just because I just started this game. Alright, so now I'm going to hop out of this. I'm going to go back into Pew Pew, and as you can see, it stuttered for like a second, but it let me get back into it without closing. Now let's hop out of this. Let's get back into Dead Trigger. My bad, not the. And as you can see, it just literally continued off where it was. Maybe like a second delay, but it wasn't that bad at all. Now I'm doing this because playing the games, there's no problem playing real racing, Dead Trigger, whatever. But I think the real test is between multitasking between them, because it shows you that it doesn't really close apps in the background and it's still able to pick up where it left off. So here I'm playing Temple Run. Okay. Let's say I get a call. My mom calls me. She says play Pew Pew. All right, I'm jumping back into here. And I'm playing this. My mom calls me again to hop into Temple Run. Okay, cool. Resume it. And, you know, it resumes where it's off. I hop out of this one. I go back into, let's say, real racing. I'm able to easily play into real racing without no problems. So yeah, that was kind of a weird test. I don't even know what I was going with that. But I mean, that kind of shows you like you're able to pick up and go off where you left off. And battery life is also something that's kind of interesting on this phone. It's definitely not bad. You can easily get a day's worth out of this, but I feel like once this battery starts deteriorating, you know, within the next year, 2 years, 3 years, or whatever it is, the battery life's gonna go down a lot. Because it's only like a 1600 milliamp hour battery, somewhere around there. So it's not the biggest ever, and it's not the smallest either, but you can always turn on low power mode and do stuff like that. But I really hope, you know, with the next couple iOS versions, you know, iOS 12, iOS 13, that they really, you know, start saving the battery life instead of, you know, slowing down the phones. So to sum up, this iPhone is probably worth it to like 90% of you guys watching this right now. It's good size, decent battery life, great performance, great cameras, and yeah, that's pretty much where it's at. But now to check if you're the 10% who are not going to get this phone, you have to kind of ask yourself, do you want a phone this size? You know, gaming is cool, but, you know, a smaller screen is kind of different. It's really cool if you have a little bit of a bigger screen, you know, the iPhone 7, iPhone 10, iPhone 8 Plus, all those phones. It's kind of cool to have a bigger screen when you're playing there. So maybe a bigger phone overall might, you know, benefit you. And another thing you have to ask yourself is that the iPhone SE 2 is probably going to be released in like next month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is. So once that gets released, the iPhone SE prices are going to go down a lot. So are you the person to kind of wait for a phone you don't really need it right now? And once, you know, the next one gets released, this price is going to go down a lot. So if you're a person for deals, you might want to wait a little bit. But if you're not, dude, like this phone is completely worth it. It's super sweet. I see myself like still talking about this phone for like years and years to come. So guys, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions or anything, I'll leave links to the iPhone SE in the description if you guys want to buy it. If you guys have any questions or anything, leave them down in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. That would definitely mean so much. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.